our 2017 Petersburg High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Before we begin and introduce our first inductee, again, I want to mention thank you all for coming this evening and being a part of this celebration. I want to mention that this class of 2017 is the largest induction class in our short history, our short 3-year history of the Hall of Fame. 10 new members, along with the 2 basketball teams we talked about, the 73 and 74 state championship teams that will join the 17 previous Hall of Fame members. So right now we're going to start with our first inductee in the class of 2017, and that is Ronald Erb. Erb was a member of the class of 1968. He was a 3-sport standout in football, basketball, and track, but football was his passion. Erb was a member of the 1966 football team that went 10-0 in the regular season. They won the Central District title and finished 3rd in the state. During his first season on the team, he led the district with 120 points scored. He was first team All-District, first team All-Tri-City, and first team All-Southern. In 1967, Erb helped lead the Crimson Wave to a 9-1-1 regular season record and a share of the Central District Championship. He was first team All-Region, first team All-District, and first team All-Tri-City that season. In his career at Petersburg High, Erb scored 50 touchdowns and rushed for over 4,100 yards. He was named to the Virginia Sports Writers All-State First Team and was named one of the top football players in the state of Virginia. Erb was the second Petersburg athlete to be named to the All-American High School football team. That deserves a round of applause. In 2010, Erb, along with Ricky Hundley and Eric Tipton, both PHS Hall of Famers, they were recognized as one of Richmond's top 25 football players. There are many more accomplishments that I can mention this evening, but there is one more that I can say, and that he is a Petersburg High Hall of Famer. To speak on Ronald Erb's behalf, one of the legendary names in this city, is that good? Yeah, you go. Okay. Larry TOOMBS will speak on behalf of Ronald Erb.
Thank you, Sean. You're welcome. I'm glad you remembered me. Thank you very much. Speaking of remembering, it was great to see some of the young fellas that I dealt with when they were little bitty guys. Brian Smith, I saw Brian, and Darrell Stith, and Jay Street, great guys. They were great as youngsters growing up, and they turned out to be outstanding young men in our society now. Well, it's only fitting that we have a football guy that we're going to kick this off with. And Sean pretty much has said everything that I wanted to say. So all I can do is probably tell a few stories about my teammate and my friend, Mr. Ronnie Erb, to tell you and give you an idea of just what kind of football player he was, which you could tell by what Sean said. He was quite an athlete here at Petersburg High School. But during the 1963-1967 years, the 5-year period, in 63 and 64, he had a brother named Bobby Erb. So in 63 and 64, Bobby played. 64, 65, 67, Ronnie played. Between the two of them, they amassed over 75 touchdowns in their career with the brother act that they had. So an outstanding situation, and that's why I think Ronnie wore the number 21, which was his brother's number to show that. So an outstanding situation for them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead because I think you only said you could only have 3 or 4 minutes, and I could take quite a bit of time of describing Ronnie Erb to you. But I want to kind of just give you an idea of what kind of tenacity and fierce competitor that Ronnie Erb. Not only was he an outstanding offensive ball player, He played safety on defense. And I'm telling you, and the guys who played with us over here, I mean, he had bone-crushing hits that he put on people. So not only was he an outstanding offensive ball player, as you heard, but an outstanding defensive ball player. I've got 3 or 4 quick plays that took place in 1966 and 1967. He and myself and some others were members of a 1966 team that went 10-0, didn't lose a game, and were the last undefeated Petersburg High School football team. Hasn't been won since 1966. I'm not going to try to add those years up, but it's been a bunch. It's been a bunch. It has. Okay. The second game of the season in 1966. Now we're talking about a team that went on and won 10-0. 1966, they're playing Meadowbrook. I think the score was either tied 14-14 or they were up 19-14. We're marching down the field. Our quarterback, Dave Parrish, throws a screen pass to Ronnie, but the 20-yard line. Ronnie gets hit on about the 10-yard line by 3 Meadowbrook ball players. And I know this sounds terrible, you think I'm lying. He carried those 3 guys into the end zone for a touchdown, and we won the ball game 21-19. It gets better. Hopewell. Now, Hopewell was, I know we got Hopewell folks here, but big rivalry, okay. Again, 66, we go into the Hopewell. Hopewell's only lost 1 game, so if they beat us, then we're tied with Hopewell, okay? Big game. Well, everybody's, all this stuff going back and forth, what they're going to do to us and whatever. Ronnie runs 6 touchdowns in the first half. Doesn't play much the rest of the game because his ankle's about this big. So, that kind of gives you an idea. He intercepted a pass. And one thing that we didn't say, Ronnie, when he ran the ball, he was one of those guys that if you played lineman or whatever, you didn't make one block and just watch him run. You blocked, you ran down, you blocked because he cut back across the field, then he cut back on this way, he cut back this way, then he cut back over this way, then he cut back down over that way. So you were running around making blocks. One of the funniest things that I heard about that, David Parrish and Rudy Hawkins were blocking. They fell on the ground. Ronnie ran in for the touchdown. Rudy got up and said, if he ran by me just one more time, I was going to tackle him. Lee Davis, championship. They moved the game to City Stadium because there was about 12,000 people at City Stadium that night, 1966, Lee Davis. Now, this doesn't seem like a big deal. We jump out 13-0. They come down and score 13-6, catch the extra point. And usually, okay, extra point, no big deal. Ronnie walks, he's playing the backfield, comes out and says, yeah, give me a hole, man. Give me a hole. Okay. Get a hole. He comes through. He doesn't block it with his hands. He blocks the extra point with his face. So he's laying on the ground. We run over to him. Come on, Ronnie, we're going to need you, man. It's a tough ball game. Blood's running all out of his nose. His braces are all cut up. He gets up, wipes off, goes in. Okay, 13-6. They come back, score again. What did he do? Block that extra point with his face. That's all, nose all broke up, blood running down again. We come back and win the game 26-12. But just think, if he didn't block those 2 extra points and we didn't score anymore, we'd get beat 14-13. Tells you what kind of guy he was to play the game. All right, last one. Mr. Lawson, don't run me off of here. This is 1967 and it's called The Play. Barty Smith has played for the Packers and played in this game for Douglas Freeman. Still says this was the best football play that he ever saw on a football field. Ronnie's punting. He punts to Douglas Freeman. They come down the field. 3 guys are in front of the running back. 3 guys are coming down the sideline. He punts the ball, slides over. I happened to be at the game. I was playing at the University of Richmond at the time, and the coaches, we came over to watch the game. There's only one way to make that stop, If that running back gets up into the blockers a little bit, you got a chance. If he stays back behind them, you can knock some guys down. He cut off and score. This young man went over and knocked everybody down and reached up and grabbed the running back and pulled him down. And you could hear a pin drop in 12,000 people because nobody believed they saw that. So that goes down to the play. Bill Millsaps was a sports editor for many, many years. At a seminar, they asked him, who was the greatest high school football player you ever covered? Without hesitation, he said, Ronnie Erb. He said, I've seen that young man do things on the football field that I've never seen anybody else do before. And that's like 45 years of covering some of the top ball players in the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know he's got his stuff. He's going to say a few words. Coaches, inductees, honored guests, you don't know the honor and the privilege that I have to introduce to you my friend and my teammate, Mr. Ronnie Erb.
I don't know whether I can say anything to beat that. I think he's uncovered everything. But I just want to say there's players out here tonight just as good. I'm looking at one right here. I want to thank the council for letting me be an inductee. I want to thank Ronnie Moody, Vince Hardy. I won't forget somebody, dadgummit, for working so hard to get me up here. I appreciate that. The only thing I'd like to do tonight, because I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for them guys on that football team with me. If they didn't block, we just talked about it, I wouldn't be here standing in front of you tonight. I'd like for all the players that played with me during those years to stand up and let these people see you. There you go. If they didn't block, I wouldn't be standing here. It's a team effort, and it will always be a team effort. And the only other person I want to thank before I sit down is God Almighty. God Almighty made me the person I am, and I love the life He gave me. There, Bubba.
Our next inductee is a gentleman that I've had the pleasure of covering once he became a coach at two different schools in the Central District and was very successful at both places. Our next inductee is REMUS James. James is a class of 1990 and has definitely left a lasting mark at Petersburg High. He was a two-sport star, track and field, along with football. During the 1988 season, James led the team with 63 catches for 1,061 yards. His skills on the field earned him first-team All-Region and District in 1988 and 1989. When he graduated, James held every receiving record in school history: 115 catches, 1,893 yards, and 13 touchdowns. James would play college ball at the land of Troy, Virginia State University, where he did just as much damage on the gridiron in the CIAA. 4-year letter winner, 3-year starter under head coach Lou Anderson. He was a first-team All-CIAA selection in 1991 and 92, earned all academic honors in 1991. When he graduated in 1995, he held every VSU receiving record: 160 catches, 2,379 yards, 20 touchdowns in a Trojan uniform, and they put him in the VSU Athletic Hall of Fame in 2013. After his Trojan playing career ended, he decided to coach and returned to his alma mater at Petersburg High, where he became an assistant on the football coaching staff and was named the Waves head football coach in 2001, leading the team to the playoffs twice. He also coached 2 players that made it to the NFL, in Kendall Langford and Jerome Mathis. I mentioned he was a 2-sport star. He also dabbled in track and field. He was also the head track and field coach in 1996, 3-time Central District Coach of the Year for boys and girls, 2-time Central Region Boys Coach of the Year, the 2000 Richmond Times-Dispatch Metro Coach of the Year, and was the Tri-City Track Boys Coach of the Year. His 2001 boys team finished second in the VHSL Track and Field Championships, and during that time he also coached 2 national track and field champions in Jerome Mathis and Nicole Cook, who was inducted into the Hall last year. After a successful coaching career at his alma mater, James was named the first African-American head football coach at Colonial Heights in 2012 and led the team to a playoff berth in 2015, the first for the school in a decade. He also led the track and field program as well at Colonial Heights. All of those accomplishments are great, but there is one more that might be at the top of the list. During his time as a coach or a principal at Tussing Elementary, where he currently is, James has helped 80 students go to college. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce the newest inductee to the Petersburg High Hall of Fame, Mr. REMUS James.
Good evening. First, giving honor to God to allow us to come together and celebrate everyone in the room. It's an enormous occasion. I'm humbled. I would like to personally thank Ms. Harper, who stayed on my wife to make sure we got the packet in. Without her, I wouldn't be standing right here now. Thank you, Ms. Harper. Tonight, it's about the inductees, but I really want to just thank the people who are important in my life. And if I get someone, forget someone, please forgive me. Charge it to the man and not the heart. Oftentimes we hear about the negative things that come out of Petersburg. When I was in high school, it was 5 of us. They called us the Bucket Crew. Mike Scott, Ben Scott, Marcellus Campbell, Don Ruffin, and myself. All 5 of us went to college on a full football scholarship. I'm on my soapbox right now because I have the opportunity to do so. We need to change the perception of Petersburg. A lot of great things come out of it. Tonight shows you a lot of great things come out of it. And there's still a lot of great things in Petersburg. In saying that, I'm going to thank those who've always supported me. I will start off with the greatest fraternity in the world, my brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Would all of you please stand? I'd like to thank my table. I'm going to start with my cousin who's been there my entire life, Levin Smith, who's always been there. My sister, who supports me thick and thin, even when I'm doing something wrong. She'll slap me upside my head, but she still supports me. My mother-in-law, I can remember, and I'm going to embarrass her right now. When I was in high school, she didn't want me to date her daughter. But as always, because she wanted the best thing for my beautiful wife. And I had to prove to her that I am the best thing for you, my beautiful wife. I'd like to thank my mother. My mother is my rock. Oftentimes, she held me back. She's never once held me back. She showed me the true reason and how to persevere through anything. Any obstacle that was set before me, my mother is the reason why I can get through it, and I thank her today for that. Those of you who know me, I say this all the time. Next, I'd like to just thank my baby girl, who's my whole wide world. She puts up with Daddy and his stories, and now you're going to have to put up with a second Hall of Fame speech. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Marcia. Taylor is my whole wide world, but my wife, Marcia, is my universe that holds my world together. I thank you, I love you, and thank everybody.
Our next inductee was a two-sport star that was nicknamed for his resemblance of a former Laker great, Kevin Jefferson. Jefferson graduated in 1986, was a basketball and baseball standout. You may have heard somebody say Coop. That was his nickname in school because he looked like former NBA champion Michael Cooper. Do you see a little resemblance in Cooper? Did you wear the thick wristbands and the toss? Didn't wear those? Okay. During his time on the hardwood, Jefferson was a first-team All-State selection, All-Region, and All-District, along with receiving a nomination to the McDonald's All-American team. He received a full scholarship to Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia, was a four-year standout there. He scored 1,806 points, which is a school record. He held that record for 22 years and still holds several school records, such as single-season scoring average at 25.6 a game, career field goals with 746, single-season field goals made with 285, career field goal attempts, single-season field goal attempts, career and single-season dunks, dunks in a single game, and the single-game field goal made record with 15. He was a baller at Long. Jefferson led the Lancers to a share of the 1988 Mason-Dixon Conference Championship and was named Longwood Male Athlete of the Year in 1990 and was named Team MVP on 2 different occasions. He earned all South Atlantic District honors in 1990, was a 2-time Virginia Sports Information Directors College All-State selection, and was inducted into Longwood's Athletic Hall of Fame in 2007. Currently, Jefferson owns a fitness company called Fit Coop 33, still active in the Petersburg community, often volunteering his time in Mount Olivet Baptist Church. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member to the Petersburg High Athletic Hall of Fame, Mr. Kevin Jefferson.
Just want to thank everyone for being here, especially the Hall of Fame committee. But first, I want to give honor and praise to God, because I'm here only because of a simple prayer request I made to God. I'm going to mention Coach Burkhalter first, but, you know, him and I had a conversation in the hallway, and I kind of give him the credit because in the 8th grade, he cut me from the basketball team. So after being cut, I had a prayer with God. It was simply just to go to college to get an education on a basketball scholarship. And God provided that for me. And I'm a living testimony to say God will put people in your life to bless you. He will direct your steps, guide your purpose and everything. Also, I want to give credit and another praise to my mother and father, Elizabeth and Ronald Parham. They have sacrificed so much for me growing up. I remember going into my senior year, I was invited to Prep Stars basketball camp. I just had to get to Elon, North Carolina. From Petersburg, that seemed so far, but we left early Sunday morning. The car broke down. We had to wait for the store to open. My dad had to put on a water pump. I don't think he knew what he was doing, but he got it working, and we got to camp. And I think getting me to that camp where I was nationally known then after playing in that camp. You know, also I want to give thanks to my little baby sister. At the time when I was in high school, I think she was around 7 years old, my senior year. Also, I have my daughter here, Sky. I have my granddaughter, Bella. My 2 nephews, Deuce and Dallas. But also, for my journey and my process, like I said, I want to give credit to the coaches that provided in my life. Like I mentioned, Coach Burkhalter. He was the first coach I had. Then I went to Coach Jimmy Hill. Excellent coach. Taught me a lot in basketball. From there, it was Coach Lawson. Everyone knows Coach Lawson, how great he was as well. Also, I want to recognize, I see Coach Thomas here. He was one of my coaches. Let's see who else I had. It's my father's coaches. I think I only have one of my high school teammates here. This also was my childhood friend. If you don't mind standing, I will have him stand, Garrett Jones. We was part of the 84-85 state team that lost in double overtime in the States. And like REMUS said, Petersburg have a lot of talent. I attribute my talent to because I had a lot of guys that come before me that was awesome. I remember Coach Lawson would set up games where we played against Darryl Stiff and his team. And you play against them guys, that was just like playing against an NBA team. They were loaded. Bobby Stovall, Coach Thomas, Darryl Stiff, J3, many of them, they were loaded. And if you could compete with them, you could compete with anyone. You know, even living in Florida for 16 years, everyone that I came across knew Petersburg High School, especially Petersburg High School basketball. They knew Petersburg High School basketball. So just in closing, this has been a great experience for me. This is my second Hall of Fame, and the question was asked, you know, which one's more important? And I have to say this one because this one started it all. If it wasn't for this one, the one in Longwood wouldn't have been relevant either. So once again, I thank y'all. Thank you for all your support. May God bless you all. Thank you.
All right, we're going to continue on with our program and introduce our next inductee, a man who was born in North Carolina but became a legend on the diamond here in the Commonwealth, and that is Walter Massey, Jr. Massey is a member of the class of 1951. He played shortstop for 2 seasons on the baseball team with a career batting average of .350. He also played in several summer baseball leagues, such as the Woodpecker Lodge and American Legion Post No. 2, winning a district title. After he graduated, Massey was scouted by several major league teams before eventually signing with the Chicago White Sox. They will send him to the Wisconsin Rapids Club of the Class D Wisconsin State League for what they called seasoning. His next stop was with the Madisonville Miners in Kentucky to play in their Kitty League when he moved to second base. His final stop in his pro baseball career was in the Coastal Plain League. Is Larry Toombs still here? Coastal Plain. And he played for the Wilson Tobbs. After his second season there, he returned to Petersburg, to be with his family. Massey was the first graduate of Petersburg to sign a pro baseball contract since Eric Tipton did it back in 1939. It is my pleasure to introduce the newest member of the Petersburg High Athletic Hall of Fame, Walter Massey, Jr.
I don't quite know where to start after all these athletes. Where did they come from? But all of them were great athletes according to what we've heard tonight. I've heard lots of those stories. I'm 82 now. I feel like I'm about 92. But I've had a long, good life, including all of the baseball. I love baseball. Played it 7 days a week if I could down at Central Park in Petersburg years ago. Then I got into professional baseball. And I played a couple of years. I was 17 years old with a bunch of people that were twice as old as me. But I felt like I had a bunch of family with those people of that age. I had a good time. I also had people working at the phone company that I was connected with when I was gone. So I played in Madisonville, Kentucky one year. I didn't particularly like that part of the country. Next year, they put me in a place close to home, Wilson, North Carolina. That's, I hate to say it, that's the last chance I had to play pro ball. I came home, went to work at the telephone company. I worked there 37 years. I've been retired since I was 55. But I enjoyed 55 years old. But anyway, I enjoyed all the time, and I've been retired. I miss the telephone company, miss a lot of people that I knew. On occasion, I see a lot of them here, there, and yonder. Ask me, what am I doing? And I said a whole lot of nothing, really. But I'm having a good time. My wife is here, and I think we have about 20 members of my family is here. Go down here, table 4. And I really don't know anything else to say about, my playing time at Petersburg High School. Boy, I had some players playing against me. Here I was 15 years old or so. I had 2 or 3 players that played the position that I played and others. And I said, how in the world am I going to get up there and play baseball against these guys? Here I am 15 years old, and they've had a couple of years playing baseball with the high school team anyway. So I said, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. So I went out and I made the team. And I said, good gracious, I died gone to heaven. But anyway, not quite. I'm still here. Hate to tell you. But anyway, I'll always, even though I live in Prince George County now, we've lived there for years, my wife and I, and children, 3 girls and grandchildren. But I'll always remember, you'll have to excuse me. Petersburg High School, thank you for coming. Enjoy being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Our 5th Hall of Fame inductee is one of 2 women that will be inducted into the class of 2017 this year, who became just as successful away from the athletic field as she was on it. Dr. Lisa Mason. But we here in Petersburg remember her as Lisa Mickens. But she's Dr. Mason. She's a member of the class of 1997, a 3-sport standout in tennis, softball, and basketball. In tennis, she was a 4-year letter winner, first team All-District in 1996. On the softball diamond, she was named team MVP in 96, second team All-District, and made the All-Academic team in 1997. But she took it to another level when she was on the basketball court. She was a 4-year starter and letter winner. She averaged double figures in points all 4 seasons, led the Lady Wave to 4 straight Central District regular season and tournament championships. Dr. Mason was a 4-time member of the Central District All-Tournament team and All-Academic team. She was a first-team All-Region and was on the Richmond Times-Dispatch first-team All-Metro squad in 1997. She graduated from PHS as class valedictorian with a 4.47 grade point average. Dr. Mason received a full academic and athletic scholarship to Morgan State University in Baltimore, where she was a 4-year scholar athlete there and finished in the top 10 all-time in assists and steals. During her time at Morgan State, she completed internships with Booz Allen Hamilton, Inc., technical and managerial consulting firm, also part of the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center and ITT Space Industries. She was also a recipient of the highly competitive National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship and the United Negro College Fund Special Programs Harriet G. Jenkins Predoctoral Fellowship. She received her doctorate in engineering degree. Let me say that again. She received her doctorate of engineering degree from Morgan State in 2007, where she also earned her Bachelor's of Science in 2001 and her Master's in Engineering in 2004 in Electrical Engineering. I'm smart just saying that. She's active in several civic organizations, including serving as a founding member and executive board member of the Megan C. Poles Foundation, which was formed in 2004 in memory of one of her former AAU basketball players that died as a result of injuries suffered in an automobile accident. Since 2005, the foundation has been able to donate over $50,000 to its selected charities, including the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center and the Lions Camp Merrick Juvenile Diabetes Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the newest member to the Hall of Fame, Dr. Lisa Mason.
Terrell, I'm nervous. Thank you for that introduction to the committee. Thank you for this tremendous honor. I have to thank God. I wouldn't be here without him at all. My mom and I were talking last week, and if you were to look into the dictionary for village child, my picture would be there. So, because so many people have had a hand in me being at this point, not only receiving this honor, but this point in my life, I want to take this opportunity to try to thank them. To just my teachers, neighbors from the Delectable Heights, to the family from Good Shepherd Baptist Church on 515 Virginia Avenue, just everyone, just the Wave family in general, thank you. The support, just coming to games, sharing newspaper clippings, or just sharing a word of encouragement was and is still truly appreciated. To my coaches, so many are here. I don't know if I don't see Coach Claiborne, but always pushing me to become my best, even though I didn't know what that bar might quite have been. Tammy and Terrell and I were joking last night. We may not have appreciated the 10 in the minutes and the mile runs and the pluses and minuses. Like I still heard Coach Burkhardt screaming out pluses and minus fives. At the time, we didn't really love it, but we grew to appreciate it. We grew to appreciate the work ethic and the discipline that it taught us that we were able to carry on off the court. To my teammates, all of my individual accomplishments really don't have a backdrop or a context with our team accomplishments. From Salita Thomas, already a Hall of Famer herself, well deserving, who set the bar for us to kind of tell us how to push, where we were going for, to Danielle Dawson, who is forever to me a Lady Wave, even though she transferred, served as a great mentor for me even when she left, to Terrell Jackson Hobson, who's soft jumper, kept a lot of people off and allowed scoring opportunities for myself, to Tamara Perm Noakes, whose defensive prowess sealed a lot of those Central District games. Thank you for pushing me to become a better teammate, a better player on the court as we push for our team goals together. To my family that is here, you've always supported me. Thank you, even though I think at times you thought I was going to be a career student. You always jumped in the van and traveled to Baltimore for all of my activities and my graduations and the parties. I truly appreciate it. To my mother, thank you for being my role model and #1 fan. Calvin, thank you for allowing your little sister to tag along to Virginia Avenue and play with the guys. It kind of worked out okay. To my husband, Bryant, who never got a chance to see me play at any level, and when I would say, I was pretty good, he was just like, okay. I think you were more excited about this for me than I was, and I just want to thank you for always celebrating my accomplishments with me and letting me know that a win for one of us is a win for both of us. I truly considered it and still do consider it a privilege to have been able to play for the Lady Wave. To all of the honorees, I want to say congratulations, but to one specific person, Cheryl, I don't know if you even remember this, but whenever my mom and Aunt Jerry, Dr. Fauntleroy, would travel for the games to see the teams play, they would bring me along, and I just fell in love with this basketball player. And I remember you had the championship game at the Central Region in 1990, and I came with my ball. I was like, if I can get the team to sign my ball, I would just be so excited. And Coach Dyer brought me back there, and you guys were just so nice. And further on, when I got to Morgan, I reached out to you to ask some questions just about adjusting to college life, and you were always so kind to me, and you kind of set the bar. I wanted to play. I turned down an opportunity to go to governor's school because I wouldn't be able to play for Petersburg for basketball. I was like, I want to play basketball for Petersburg. So Cheryl, congratulations. I just want to say thank you for being a role model that you may not have known. In closing, again, it's truly a privilege. I never imagined I would have been considered the same echelon as the people being honored here tonight, or people such as Moses Malone or Mark West, and it's with so much pride that I watch TV and say, Frank Mason went to Petersburg, or Kendall Langford went to Petersburg. That's where I'm from. So I just want to say that Petersburg is and always will be the standard bearer. We always were the team that everyone wanted to beat. We always had to learn to bring our best game for ourselves, because everyone was going to bring their best game no matter what the situation was. So again, thank you for this tremendous honor, and just thank you.
Our next inductee was both a Wave and a Blue Devil in his athletic career, and that is Oliver Rudy. Rudy was a member of the class of 1954 and was a three-sport star in basketball, baseball, and football. He was captain of the basketball team during his senior season under head coach Bob Kilborn. Rudy was a second-team all-district player in his final year, averaging around 16 points per game as the team advanced to the state tournament. On the football field for Coach Roland Day, Rudy was a starting quarterback, a position he held as a freshman and was so for the last 3 years of his high school career. During his senior year, Rudy was first-team all-state and all-district, playing both offense and defense. After graduation, he followed his idol Eric Tipton to Duke University, but didn't play varsity as a freshman because back then it wasn't allowed. So Rudy improved his game and eventually earned a spot on the Blue Devil football team for his sophomore season, starting at right halfback. In the last game of the season against their arch rivals North Carolina, Rudy scored the game's only touchdown. That earned him National Back of the Week honors and was named to the All-ACC sophomore team. After a great collegiate career, the man known as Skitch was drafted by the Green Bay Packers, but declined their offer and instead enrolled to the University of Richmond's T.C. Williams Law School, where he graduated in 2 years. He was also a member of the McNeil Law Society and was also the Chesterfield County Commonwealth Attorney from 1966 to 1979, and represented the Board of Litigation involving the consolidation of the school systems of Henrico, Chesterfield, and the city of Richmond. The school board won the suit in the United States Supreme Court. After 13 years as Commonwealth Attorney, he would successfully open his own law practice. Rudy's life was cut short on March 13, 2007, when he passed away at the age of 69 after a battle with cancer. Accepting this honor as the newest member of the PHS Athletic Hall of Fame on his behalf is Oliver's brother, Jerry Rudy.
It's really hard to say how proud and happy we all are here to celebrate this event. It's overwhelming. I didn't know exactly what to expect because we haven't been back to Petersburg. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and we haven't been back for many years. And so and this has just been so exciting. And on behalf of the family, I know they're just thrilled for this whole thing. And I want to thank everyone involved in organizing this and the committee for inducting my brother. I really didn't prepare anything, because I wanted to sort of see what I would channel if I was channeling my brother. And I think what he would say, and I reflect back on this, you know, his athletic career spanned his significant athletic career spanned in maybe 5 years of his life. You know, a little bit of high school, a little bit of college. And we had many interesting conversations over the years. But I don't ever remember him talking about his athletic events, his athletic achievements. It was never anything that occupied him. He was always concerned with many other things. And so I think back on that and I say, he would really, more than being remembered as a great athlete, I think he would really cherish being remembered for the great community person he was. I mean, for those of you who knew him as Commonwealth Attorney, or knew him for his activities in Chester, I mean, he was really the guy of the community. Everybody loved, everybody went to for a favor. And I think the eulogy to him when he passed ended with anyone, he told the pastor that as he was leaving, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. And the pastor said that was him to a T. He always wanted to help other people. And so what he was really, I think what he would really like to be remembered for is not so much his athletic achievements, but his commitment to his church, to his community, and to his fellow man. And so I think that was, so if I can leave you with this, I don't want to quite leave you with this, because it's another, I was thinking back to that era in the 50s, when there was such a thing as an all-around athlete. Some of you will remember that concept, which is a really odd term today because most people specialize in one sport starting at the age of 10. But, you know, my brother played baseball, football, basketball, and he pitched in a fast-pitch church league with grown men when he was like 13 years old. And so so it was a very different era at that time. And so it was really just thinking back on that. And he, of course, was my hero. He was 5 years older than me. And so I had him to look up for all the way. And I know he would, if he was here, he would be so proud. And so I just want to thank everybody that was involved. And that's all I have to say.
All right, our next inductee in the class of 2017 is a Richmond native who used his speed in 2 different sports to make it to the hall, and that is Brian Smith. Oh, I'm sorry. What it said Richmond. It was a Richmond native. Okay, why don't you just come on up there? He's a Petersburg native. Let me say that again. Smith is a member of the class of 1980 and is a 2-sport state standout in track along with football. Smith began playing at a young age, coming up through Petersburg youth football, and also played in junior high. During his high school career, he scored 48 touchdowns and ran for over 3,400 yards. In his junior year, he was named Honorable Mention All-State. During his senior season, Smith was named Player of the Week an incredible 10 times. He was first team All-District, All-Tri-City, and All-Region, and helped lead the Crimson Wave to the 1979 VHSL State Championship. He was also named Most Outstanding Player in the state tournament. After graduation, Smith went to Coffeyville Junior College in Kansas, where he rushed for over 900 yards and 15 touchdowns. He then moved to the Ohio State University. Did I say the correct? Okay. But he wanted to be closer to home, so Smith left the Buckeyes and transferred to Virginia Union University. I apologize for that. During his time with the Panthers, Smith rushed for over 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns. He was named CIAA Newcomer of the Week and Conference Player of the Week on 3 separate occasions and was a big part of the Panthers winning a conference championship. From Petersburg to Kansas to Columbus with a stop in Richmond, and now his final stop in his athletic career, Petersburg, as a member of the 2017 Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Smith.
I'm a little clumsy. As you see, I'm still a little clumsy. They used to wonder how I used to run the ball. And they said, Brian, how did you stay upright? I said, well, I was always clumsy. Every time I fell down on someone, I was going that way. Well, at first, I'm a little nervous. This is a great honor to be in this room with so many great athletes, not only that, loved ones and families that been supporting us ever since we were little. But first, I'd like to give honor to God for this elite award. And we always, we sit around the dinner table. We always be talking, my sister and I, and at Maureen, Patrice, my brother John, who's passed away, my dad. I tell you, we used to have conversations at that table. But my thing was to eat fast if I could get outside and play fast. And they used to say, why you eat your food so fast? I just couldn't wait to get outside to participate and play a little softball, baseball, running, all the activities that's out there. But I just speak of a legend. I talk about my mom, Ruth Dolores Smith. She's my role model. She's my energy. She was my rock. She's not here. My dad is not here, John Leroy Smith, nor my brother, John Kelvin Smith. We had a legend of family members, times that we, like I said, sit at the table, because my dad always wanted us to have a conversation, and the conversation had to be on education or how your day went. Each individual it was your turn to talk. And me, I like to talk a lot. But right now, it's just a lot going on. But I am happy. And getting back to the table where we used to have different conversations and goals, what we wanted to do in life. And it seemed like we all had the same goals, to be a positive person, stay upright, treat people right, and love your neighbors, and do the right things. I'm glad I had a chance to meet Mr. Ronnie Herb. This is the first time I met him. What an awesome treat that was for me as a running back, because him and I are one of the best. I have a few stories that got me up to this point where my Uncle Kermit Smith, will you stand? Kermit Smith was all district nose tackle for Petersburg High School back in the 70s. Kermit used to take me out on this rock pile and play football. And he said, one to get the ball, get tackled. I said, one to get the ball, get tackled, like, who gonna get the ball? He says, your ball. So I had to run. And Kermit drove me hard into that daggone rock so many times. It just made me realize the times that when I did have the ball in my hand, I said, if Kermit could drive me through the ground and with the rocks, I could run you over. And on the next page, I'm just trying to think of all the wonderful things that comes to mind. I can remember being recruited by Ohio State, Nebraska, Oklahoma. I was flying out all these places every weekend. I just couldn't decide which university I wanted to go to, but it was an honor. But I can tell you one story about Ruth Dolores Smith. Mom, I'm going to tell a story. Well, one day, the guy, Coach Shetlis, assistant head coach for Nebraska, was knocking at the door. And I looked out the window. I said, Mom, the insurance man is at the door. She said, boy, get away from that window. So I looked back, and I said, Ma, he's still sitting on the steps. She put her house robe on. She walked up, opened the door. She said, sir, can I help you? She said, yes, ma'am, we want your son. I'm the assistant coach from Nebraska. She said, oh, come on in. Oh, wow, it's just some of the stories I can tell of being an All-American and having the honors. Ricky, I like for Louis Abraham, my fullback. Charlie Blue played on the state football team. You guys stand? Any more state football players? Mark? We had, it's such an honor because, Petersburg, yeah. Fonzo, yeah. Fonzo, he's the fastest guy in here, so I missed him. But anyway, it's just being in this room means a whole lot. And us guys, we accomplish a whole lot. But like Ronnie said, them guys, it's not just all about us. It's about a team sport. A team sport gets you anywhere. That could be a workplace as a team player. It plays a role in your life. And, man, it done a lot for me. I have a wonderful family. I wouldn't trade them for nothing in the world, even though I get on my big baby, my daughter. The last time I had a speech to my little 15-year-old right here, Naja. Now I'm talking to you all. And I said, you going to read from this? I said, Anna, I've been working 12 hours. 7 days, I said, it's going to come from here. And I'm just so glad. But I'd like to recognize my daughter, Amy. Will you stand, please? Naja Monroe. Patrice, Allie, Nikki, Maureen, Dr. Diane Hollis, my daughter's mother, Coach Brown, Miss Hopper, Mr. Hopper. I appreciate you all for getting on Annette, because I'm a little humble at this time when they was asking about all the information. I was like, man, I got to dig all this stuff up. Where am I finding it at? I don't know where nothing is. But so and below, my mom, she had a big old scrapbook with everything in it. I said, this is going to be easy. So I handed it to my sister Annette. That's my twin. I don't know what I'd do without her. I just want to say thank you all, and I'm glad to be a part of this elite class, something that we will cherish for life, and our granddaughters and daughters and on will. And thank you. And have a blessed evening. Enjoy.
All right, before we introduce our next inductee, I would like to have the Honorable Mayor of Petersburg, Sam PARHAM, to please step forward for a very special presentation. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, everyone. Thank everyone for coming out for this very joyous occasion, and I'm so honored to recognize one of our giants of Petersburg that we had in Mr. Wirt Smith. And I have a proclamation stating, whereas Robert Worthington Nunnally Smith Sr., better known as Wirt, served as a member and chair of the Petersburg Economic Development Authority from January 2003 to Thursday, November 3rd, 2016, the date of passing. Whereas Wirt Smith was a graduate from Petersburg High School as a member of the class of 1963. And whereas Wirt Smith earned a degree in business from Virginia Commonwealth University, and whereas Wirt Smith was an active Petersburg businessman, first being president of Smith Advertising Company, an outdoor sign business for 16 years, and then president of Beckwith Office Supplies in Petersburg. And whereas Wirt Smith later joined his brother Blackwell Smith at Owen Printing Company, and when they acquired the Dietz Press in Richmond, he oversaw the book publishing operations and the sale of the Williamsburg historic flowers and fruit prints for the company. And whereas Wirt Smith over the past 45 years had been involved in numerous community and nonprofit boards and projects, including the president of JC's, Petersburg Chamber of Commerce, past president, Petersburg Kiwanis Club, past president, Southside Virginia United Way Board, past president, Petersburg Economic Action Corporation, past chairman, the Tri-Cities Forum, past president, Petersburg Picnic, co-chair, raising over $250,000 for the 4 area rescue squads, Petersburg Nostalgia Fest Committee, past member of the Petersburg School Board, Petersburg High School Boosters Club, Petersburg Sports Hall of Fame Committee, Appomattox Regional Governors School Foundation, and the Petersburg Economic Development Authority Chairman. And whereas Wirt Smith was always a passionate ambassador for the city of Petersburg and an advocate of the Petersburg public school system. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Samuel PARHAM, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the city of Petersburg, do hereby proclaim April 18th as Wordsmith Day in the city of Petersburg, as we celebrate and honor his commitment, leadership, and service to the city of Petersburg. Dated April 18th, 2017, signed by myself and the Clerk of Council, Ms. Nikesha Jackson. Word. What a great man.
And accepting on behalf of Wirt for being the latest inductee to the Petersburg High School Hall of Fame will be Wirt's son, Wirt Smith Jr.
Boy, every time I hear that list, I think to myself that I need to get to work. Good evening. I'm joined here tonight by my mom, Pat. You'll stand. My sisters, Ann Carrie and Susan and her family, Liza, Katie, and Scott, and my dad's fellow class of '63 member, Jim Rosenstock. On behalf of all of us, I'd like to say that it's an honor to be up here accepting this recognition on behalf of my father. We would like to thank the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame Committee for honoring Big Wirt in this way. And we'd like to thank all of his friends and our friends who've come out here tonight to support us, to show their support. My father loved Petersburg High School. After graduating in 1963, he shortly thereafter became the co-chair of the reunion committee that I think met every year, co-chair with Buck Madra and Joe Uzzle, positions that I don't think any of them ever relinquished, 50 plus years. I've heard so much about the class of '63 over the course of my life that I feel like that was the year that I graduated. Dad's support for the school never wavered. I'm sure a lot of you in this crowd here tonight know exactly who he was. He was a longtime booster, and PHS was never far from his mind. As you've probably read, restoring the old Petersburg High School was one of the many projects that he helped spearhead, and was one of the ones of which he was most proud. If you saw my dad, chances were that he was wearing his red PHS jacket, and he was either asking you for some money for some support of some community project, or you were coming to him to ask him for the same. Among the many reasons for which I think my father is being inducted tonight is he helped play a major role in getting the Hall of Fame here started. That has to be the reason, as I recently stumbled across Dad's old PHS stat books and found out that Dad either wasn't much of a scorer or that Jim Rosenstock and the rest of the boys just didn't want to pass him the ball. So I didn't really come here tonight to praise my father. Much in the vein of Michael Jordan's acceptance speech, I came here to settle old scores and talk about what a glory hog Jim Rosenstock is. My father was open in the post, Jim. I know this because, by all accounts, no one could get around him. But I kid. Most of the people that I've talked to over the years have told me that my dad was a solid player, but it wasn't how good or bad he was that my dad took away from those years. It was the lessons he learned from Hall of Fame coach Bob Kilburn. It was the friendships and experiences he had with his classmates and his teammates, even glory boys like Jim Rosenstock, who is somehow even now seated at my family's table, hoping to once again bask in the reflected glory of what should be my father's time. Petersburg gave my father a lot, and he wanted to give it back. He loved the city, and he never wanted anything more than to see it succeed. He gave his entire life to it. I think that's the real reason we're here honoring him tonight. My dad has been given several posthumous honors and recognitions. We, his family, value each and every one of them. If my dad were alive today, I don't think that there is any honor that he has received that would have pleased him more than to be permanently ensconced here, along with all of these other Petersburg greats. Thank you so very much.
right. Only 5 players in the history of Petersburg High School basketball have their number hanging in the rafters in the William Lawson Gymnasium. There's Moses, Mark West, Kenny Harris, Salita Thomas, and our next inductee, Daryl Stith. Stith is a member of the class of 1979, and while he was prolific on the hardwood, and we'll get to that in a minute, he was a pretty good football player too. First team All-District, All-Region, All-Tri-City, and second team All-State in his junior season. In 1978, Stith was first team All-State, All-Region, All-District, All-Tri-City, and was named Tri-City Player of the Year. That was football. But when he stepped onto the hardwood, very few could stop him. In his junior season, he was first team All-District, All-Region, All-Tri-City, and second team All-State, and leading the Crimson Wave to the Central District and Central Region championships. He was also named Tri-City Player of the Year. Stith's senior year, first team All-State, All-Region, All-District, and All-Tri-City, and once again leading the Wave to district and regional championships. And in 1999, Stith's number 30 was retired. After his stellar career at Petersburg High, he then went to Virginia State and let the country know how special his game was. In his freshman season, under head coach Floyd Laser, Stith led the entire country in scoring. He was first team All-NAIA and was CIAA Rookie of the Year. He was named to the All-Conference team all 4 years at Virginia State. And for 3 of those seasons, he was named to the Kodak All-American Division II team. He was All-CIAA Tournament Team Selection and All-Mid-Atlantic Region Team Selection. And he was also named to the All-NCAA Division II team his junior and senior years. Stith led the conference in scoring his final year at VSU, averaging 27 points per game. He is the Trojans' all-time leading scorer with 2,586 points, which is number 3 in CIAA history. He is 4th all-time in rebounding with 1,006 and still holds at least 11 statistical records at Virginia State, to include most points in a game with 45, points in a season, 703, and scoring average. The number 30 was good to Stith as well at VSU because that is also hanging in the rafters as that number has been retired. Stith was inducted into the VSU Hall of Fame, and tonight it is my pleasure to welcome Daryl Stith into the Petersburg High Athletic Hall of Fame.
Good evening. I'm kind of going to take my time. Been a long time since I've been up at the podium in front of the mic. I used to do this all the time. You know, when you're out there playing, people constantly want to do interviews, want you to say this and talk about some of your accomplishments. But today is a little special. You know, I have my family here. First of all, I'd just like to give thanks to my Lord Savior Jesus Christ, because without him, I know I wouldn't be standing here. A lot of the awards and accolades that I have received, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for him. To the Hall of Fame committee, this award, and I've received numerous, this is when I always say, when I think I have the best, or what I call the best of the best, something else always comes along. And I can tell you this is the best. It's because I was born and raised in Petersburg. My whole athletic career was spent in Petersburg. You know, I love the city of Petersburg. I loved it so much that I went to Virginia State university to continue my athletic career. And the reason then that I did that, because we had a lot of players at that time. You know, Virginia State was a feeder ground. Petersburg was a feeder ground of Virginia State. There was about 4 or 5 guys that were playing, so I was comfortable. But not only that, they had the legendary Coach Dean and Coach Bay, who I fell in love with. But just so happened, once I got there, then they departed. And I started to depart, but I made the decision, so I stayed there. But I can honestly tell you, it means so much when the city that you was born and raised in, and you stayed here to continue athletic career, and to bestow such a honor on you, and knowing that I'm gonna be immortalized for the rest of my life, and gonna be mentioning the name of the greats with Mark West, Moses Malone, Ricky Hunley, and I can go on and on. It's a tremendous feeling, tremendous feeling. To all of my teammates, my buddy Jay is here. I didn't realize there was gonna be as many guys I played with here tonight, because I had my Jay, my best boy. I was gonna have him stand up here beside me, and you know, when I paid my respects to my teammates, he would basically represent everybody, because I played with Jay from the time I was in elementary school, little league, junior high school, and college. So he pretty much represented all the players that I played against. But Jay, I'm sorry, but a lot of the guys is here, and I know you feel happy about that. But as I thought about some things that I wanted to say. You know, you never get the opportunity to tell people how you feel and what you're thinking. And I said, what a better setting than when you can express yourself in front of a large group of people, to let the people know that they're special to you, what you mean, what you meant to me through all of these years for supporting me. First of all, I just want to thank my wife. You know, she came into my life at a time where I kind of lost focus and direction. And thank you for putting me back on track, and I love you for that. My kids, well, not kids, they both adults now. I got to thank y'all guys for not making me have too many headaches. Didn't have too many long nights where I had to stay up and worry. But the only thing I want to tell you guys, just continue to do what you're doing. There's no doubt in my mind you guys are going to be successful. To the Carey family, a lot of my in-laws never had the opportunity to see me play, and I thought, what a better time than to invite them to come to this festive occasion. Is because they can kind of get the idea, well, maybe my brother-in-law, he did do something special. And that's why I wanted you guys to come here, because this was special to me, and I kind of let you know that this guy did some good things during his career. To my co-workers and friend and my frat brother, Norm, and if you know, I will ask them to stand. I didn't put my family on blast. If y'all guys will stand, you know, I'm a kind of person that don't share my feelings with a whole lot of people, but I have 4 co-workers that's here to pay tribute to me tonight, and I'm really honored and blessed for that, because I don't let too many people get into my inner circle. Now, this is going to be the tough part. James Purnell Stiff, that's my father. He's no longer here. This was a man that made sure that my brother and I had every opportunity to participate in sports from the time that we were little bitty kids until we finished high school. We didn't want for anything. And of course, you know your mother was there, because they had gave us all the support that we needed in order to be successful. And for that, I'm truly blessed and thankful. To my mother, she's sitting over there. I was glad she was able to make it. You know, there's a whole lot I could say about her, but one thing that always stood out with my mother, she's not a violent person. She's not a person that's going to fight, but she taught me at a young age, because I had a little incident with a little kid. As big as I was, I let him run me home. And my mother told me from that day forward, I'm not advocating or telling you to fight, but you need to stand up for yourself. And Mama, I can tell you right to this day, every day on my job, I stand up and fight for myself, but it's the right way to do it. To my brother, best brother in the world you could have, and I know one day you'll be up here, is because you're the first person that ever brought a state championship in track to Petersburg High School. First one to ever do it in the 100-meter, world-class speed. I was saying that to say this, you know, football and basketball took its toll on me because I had to have both of my hips replaced. But during that time, I didn't have to do a thing. If I dropped a toothpick, he was right there. And that's what family is all about. That's what he, you know, he thought that much of to do that for me. Now, the Stiff family, some of the best supporters I ever had. And they're here. I'm not going to make them stand up. But they supported me from the time that I was young all the way till I graduated from college. I know if I didn't have one fan rooting me on cheering, I had the Stiff family. And at that point, it didn't make no difference because I was going to get in a zone then. And I appreciate that you guys supporting me throughout my whole career. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention these two coaches. These two are the best coaches in the United States. Coach Norman Jenkins. Coach Norman Jenkins, he was a tough guy. He really instilled in me the concept that you don't have to talk about what you're going to do. Let your actions speak on the field. And to this day, that's some philosophy I use on a daily basis. Coach William Lawson Jr., that's my man there too. I mean, a lot of people may not understand Coach Lawson. He always had this saying, I take credit for all losses, you take credit for all wins. Coach Lawson was more than that. Coach Lawson was a coach that cared about us as student athletes. He made me realize what it was to be a student athlete. And you'll see this when I wrap up. The main thing that he wanted all of his kids to do is once this game of basketball or football is over with, he wants you to be able to step out in society and become a productive citizen. And he prepared thousands to take on that role and responsibility. And thank you, Bill and Miss Lawson, for sharing Coach Lawson. And he means a lot to all of us in here. Now, this is one that's kind of, that's dear and personal to me, is because you're always reading, you know, people say Petersburg this, Petersburg not this and that. But people fail to realize that Petersburg High School has produced a lot of doctors, lawyers, teachers, professional athletes. Any kind of profession you can think of has come through Petersburg. So that's telling me Petersburg is doing something right. And I'd like to personally thank Petersburg for giving me the tools and the skill sets that I needed to further my education. To Virginia State University, thank you for allowing me to continue my education and to graduate with a degree. I appreciate that, really do. I'm gonna tell you a little story, and then I'm gonna be closing. I know Ms. Harper, I told you I had some things I want to say, but you know we had some other good speakers that took up a little time, so I figure I got a couple more minutes. My senior year at Virginia State, you know, I averaged 27 points a game. I was one of the leading scorers in the country on all division. And, you know, so I started getting a lot of interest from pro scouts. And I said, well, maybe I might be able to pull this thing off. And, you know, Red Auerbach had made the comment. He said, this kid can really play. He said, one thing I want to do, though, is I want to evaluate him and see what type of person he is. So, you know, that being said, I had Red Auerbach to make that kind of comment. It just, I said, you know what, Darryl, during the summer, you're going to make sure you get in, you get yourself in shape. And I really worked. I ran in the heat of the day, and my mother said, Darryl, it's too hot for you to be running out there. But I had a mission, and I had a goal, and that goal was to get to the next level. Some days I would leave out of the house and run from Westview over to Virginia State, and they'll let me in the gym, and I'll work out. Because I just wanted to be ready. I had played against some of the best guys in the country in senior tournaments. Some of you might remember these guys, Dirk Wittenberg, Sidney Lowe, Chip English. All these guys were from the ACC, and so they supposed to be the best of the best. But every tournament that I played in, I outplayed them all. Every tournament I played was either 20 or more points, so I felt comfortable. I said, you know what, I can do this. I said, once we get in that gym, you put your shorts on, your tennis shoes, just like I put mine on. It's mano to mano, one-on-one once we get there. So I was feeling good. I had an agent, and during that time they was drafting 2 rounds, and they had 10 rounds, and it was 2 days. So they said I was going to get drafted between the 4th and the 7th round, which I didn't care. The only thing I want to do is hear my name called and get in that gym, because I knew what I was going to do at that point. First day came around, I was on the schoolyard working for the Petersburg Recreation Department. First day went by, I was fine. I told my wife this. I didn't tell too many people. I just told Jay this little story not too long ago. Second day came around. Didn't hear anything. Agent called me and said, well, Darryl, your name didn't get called. He said, but I know I can get you a free agent contract where you can hook up with some team. I also got a contract for you to play in the CBA. I was so hurt and devastated that I told him no. The only time I ever cried behind this game is because most times they say when you cry is because you didn't leave it all out there on the court or on the football field. So I never cried because I gave it my all. But I did cry this time because I was hurt. And then I got myself together and I said, you know what? This goes back to Coach Lawson and being a student athlete. And I was hoping some young kids would be out so they could understand where I'm coming from. If I didn't properly prepare myself and listen to what Coach Lawson told me as a young kid, that you got to be a student athlete first. I said to myself, the National Basketball Association took away my dream to play in the NBA. Nobody can take away my BS degree in business administration that I received in 1983. And in closing, 35 years later, I might not be in the NBA, but I'm not doing too bad. Thank you.
Our next inductee is just the 5th female that will be in the Hall of Fame, who also juggled working on the yearbook and school newspaper while lighting up the scoreboards around the area. Ladies and gentlemen, Cheryl Taylor. Taylor is a member of the class of 1991. Who else, class of 91? I heard one. Notice some more. She was a 3-sport standout in tennis, softball, as well as basketball. On the basketball court, Taylor was the real deal. She scored 1,013 points in her career, and for 3 seasons, led the Wave to the Central District and Central Region Championships. She was named Central District Honorable Mention after her freshman season, first team All-District, All-Region, and All-Academic after her sophomore year, was named MVP of the Central District Tournament her sophomore and junior seasons, and was the most valuable player of the Central Region Tournament her sophomore season. In addition to her athletic achievements, she was just as strong in the classroom. Taylor was named USA Today's Nation's Newspaper Salute to the Best and Brightest High School Academic Team and earned the United States Air Force Mathematics and Science Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement. She also earned the Certificate of Merit National Honor Society, the MCI Scholars Award, and was recognized as an honor scholar by Governor L. Douglas Wilder. Taylor was president of her senior class, was also class valedictorian, and graduated with a 4.3 grade point average. After her success at Petersburg High, she moved on to the University of Virginia, but did not play basketball in her first year at Charlottesville, choosing to focus more on academics. Taylor, though, did return to the court her sophomore season at UVA as a walk-on. That team was ranked as high as number 2 in the country, winning the ACC regular season and tournament championships and reaching the Elite 8. They were the first basketball team, men or women, to go undefeated in the regular season after the ACC expanded. Currently, Taylor is a successful director at the Enterprise Project Management Office and the National Rural Utilities Cooperative Financial Corporation. It's a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the 2017 Petersburg High School Athletic Hall of Fame, Ms. Cheryl Taylor.
Thank you very much. This is indeed an honor. I want to give special thanks to the Hall of Fame Committee, in particular Mrs. Rita Harper and Bill Lawson for all of your support. And congratulations to all the other inductees. It's certainly an honor to be among such an esteemed group of individuals, so I thank you for that. For those who know me, you probably know that Michael Jordan has always been my favorite athlete of all time. When I thought about what to say tonight, I didn't want to use his infamous Hall of Fame speech, but instead decided to look to the speech that one of his fellow 2009 Hall of Fame inductees, David Robinson, gave, and some points from that speech. In that speech, David Robinson pointed to Luke 17 in the Bible. And in that story, you may be familiar with it, there were 10 lepers who were healed by Jesus, and one came back to give thanks and praise for him healing him, for him being his Savior. And so first and foremost, I've got to give thanks. Thanks to the one whose handiwork has been in every accolade, every honor, every achievement in all that I've done. And so I'm just thankful to God for this gift, this game, and the many opportunities that he afforded me through that. And so in the spirit of returning back, it's an honor and a privilege certainly to return back home to Petersburg. Well, I'm not a resident of Petersburg now. Petersburg has been and always will be home. And my love for this city always continues as I move forward. There are many that I could certainly thank in this room, and I'm sure I'm going to leave some names out, so forgive me for that. But all that I've accomplished, all that I've done is because of the impact of the special people in my life. And so I'd like to just thank a few groups and a few individuals. First, in the spirit of talking about Petersburg, this wonderful community. I can't tell you how many times I've returned home and people have come up to me and said, hey, I remember you from way back when. I remember you on the court. I just want to say thank you for this community, for your support and your encouragement. Mr. Anderson, I remember you coming to every last one of our basketball games, even well after Erica graduated from high school, and I just appreciate your support. Mrs. Pollard and the late Nurse Brown, sending newspaper clippings to my home whenever I was playing here. So I thank you for the community. I thank my teachers and administrators, just wonderful educators. I was able to succeed at the University of Virginia and then Georgia Tech in engineering because of the foundation that you laid for me. And so I thank you, Dr. Fauntleroy. As a principal, Miss Virginia Mann is here as well, one of my third grade teachers, and I'm just thankful for that. For my classmates, supporting and encouraging me, the class of 91, again, give a shout out to them. I appreciate you all. And so then also my wonderful and supportive and encouraging friends who are essentially family for me. Shauna is here. We've been friends for now 40 years, and that's just been a tremendous blessing, and I'm just so thankful for her and her family. Friend Kim here from college, and I'm thankful for her as well. The Smith family, it's just ironic that Brian and I are being inducted at the same time this evening, as Brian and his late brother John used to be in the backyard with me, teaching me how to shoot jump shots as a little one. I'm not sure what Angel and Annette were doing back there, but Brian and John were at least showing me how to shoot, and so I appreciated that. For my family, certainly I can't say enough about my siblings who are here, and they're at the table there if you would wave. Harold, Angel, Vernita, my nephew Little, Harold, Lonnie, April, my brother Butchie. You've always been just such an encouragement and support for me, and I just love you deeply. And my wonderful parents. I always like to say, I think I just have the most amazing and best parents in the world. I can't keep up with them. But for every camp, every practice, every game, for the Nerf hoops in the house and everything that you put up with me, I'm just so thankful for your love and for you pushing me to be the best that I could be. So I just thank you for that. And then my teammates. I've got teammates here, teammates who are like sisters to me. Some of my teammates from high school, Mulaney, Erica, Matisha, Penny was here earlier. Basketball is a team sport, and so it's definitely because of you guys, you stretched to help me to become better. I'm thankful to have one of my college teammates here, Wendy Palmer, and her parents. I'm just thankful always for your love and support And Wendy, one of the best to ever play at the University of Virginia. Just thankful for you. And so then finally to the coaches. So many who were influential in my life, but just a few that I want to call out. Coach Harold Dean, for allowing me to come to sit at the campus at Virginia State University. These were men that really taught the fundamentals of the game, and that laid the foundation for me. And I just appreciate you, sir. And even as I went to the University of Virginia and your son Harold came there to be one of the best ever to play there, I just appreciated your support and everything there. Coach Leon Bay, who was the women's coach at the time at Virginia State University, also allowing me to come share the gym and even allowing me to play with the fellas sometimes and telling me not to be discouraged, not to be scared, but to go ahead and play against them. I just appreciate, again, teaching the fundamentals of the game and the foundation and laying that for me. Coach John Thomas, my JV coach. Coach Thomas, I still remember when you told me to just love to play defense. And so from that point on, I just love to play defense. And so I just appreciate you and all of your support. Coach Alicia Fields is here now, the principal at the high school. Appreciate you. Coach Claiborne, who was also my tennis and softball coach. I wasn't as great in those, but that was certainly a fun experience, and Coach Claiborne was patient with me in those sports. For Coach Ben Dyer, who was my high school basketball coach, and for those, my sisters in the Lady Wave, I appreciate Coach Dyer for teaching me what conditioning meant for the game. And those who played with me know exactly what I'm talking about with that. Also for Coach Williams, who's here, who used to let me infiltrate the Matoka High School gym. I appreciate you allowing me to come and play over there as well. And then certainly for Coach Debbie Ryan, grateful for her giving me the opportunity to play at the University of Virginia and for my time there. And so before I close, I'd just like to point out one additional person. Dr. Lisa Mason, I thank you so much for your comments. And I do remember that Central Regional basketball game. But what you might not remember or might not know is that I followed your career so proudly from afar as you continued and you went higher and greater than anything I could ever have hoped to achieve. And that made me more proud than anything. And that's really what I leave here for you today. It's not about what we do, but about what we pass on to others so that they can do even greater and even better than we could ever hope to achieve. And it's that legacy that outlives us all. And so, Lisa, I thank you. It's an honor to be here among you and the many others here. And again, I just thank you for this special honor and this award. Thank you very much.
We've talked so much about the great talent that was here or is here in Petersburg, but there were two basketball teams in the 70s that is safe to say put Petersburg on a national map. And that is the 1973 and 1974 state basketball championship teams. And right now I'm gonna call the names out, and if you guys are here in attendance, we would like for you to please come up to the podium. First up, we're going to start with the head coach, Carl Peel. Now, the names I will call are members of both the 73 and 74 teams. Also coaching on that team, assistant coach Robinette Hayes, who has passed on. Also assistant coach Jimmy Williams. And now the roster, number 10, Michael Howard. He has passed on, but accepting on his behalf is his wife, Dorothy Howard. Also number 12, Bernard Wilson. Number 12 on the 74 team, Wyatt Curtis. Number 14 on the 73 team, Noah Kearns. I believe he is not present this evening. Number 14 on the 74 team, Ronald Harris. Number 15 on the 73 and 74 teams, Mark Thompson. Number 20 on the 73 and 74 team, Stanley Taylor. Number 22 on the 73-74 teams, Eugene Hollins. And there was some guy that wore number 24 for both teams, Moses Malone, who has passed on a couple of years ago. Number 30 on the 73 team, Bill Nunnally. Number 30 on the 74 team, Edward Robinson. Number 32 on the 73 team, Ronald Robinson. Wearing number 50 on the 73 and 74 teams, Tony Thweet. I believe he's one that's not present. Number 34 on the 73 team, Morris Foltz. Number 34 on the 74 team, Jeff Perkins. I believe he's not present. Number 40 on the 73 team, Gonzell Phillips. Mr. Perkins, sister? Okay, have you come over here? Also, number 42 on the 73 team, Ronald Walker. Number 44 on the 74 team, Oswald Belote, who has passed on. And number 52 on both the 73 and 74 teams, Glenn Johnson. And I believe Johnson is not present. These gentlemen that are standing, what was his number? 42? I don't have the 42 on the 74 roster. You was on all three? Well, come on up and take one. William G. Let me throw this away. William G. I apologize on that. These gentlemen that are standing up here, like I said, put Petersburg on a national map. 50 straight wins these guys had on the 73 and 74 team. Winning back-to-back state championships. They defeated Halifax County in 1973, 59-51, and then the next year defeated West Springfield, 50-48. The 50-game winning streak is one of the all-time longest streaks in VHSL history for boys basketball. Now, we can go on and on about all of the accolades these gentlemen have, and rightfully so, but I'm going to let one of the members of the basketball team tell you more about what these guys did for the city of Petersburg, and will be speaking on behalf of both teams, and that is Mr. Bernard Wilson.
Good evening. First, giving honor to my God, Lord and Savior. Give me the opportunity to stand before you today to honor my teammates. It was 44 years ago. You didn't know Trailway, Boulevard, the Avenue, Chatterbox? That's was some memory, ain't it? It was 44 years ago. Petersburg High School made history. Although a lot happened since then, my friend Moses, Micah, Oswald, they're in heaven playing basketball with our Lord. But we have made a lot without them. Without them, we wouldn't have made a lot. Forever with us. And no other history in Petersburg have made accomplishment that we have did in the 70s. On behalf of Bill Lawson and the committee, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for this opportunity. It don't come but once every 20 or 30 years when you set your goals high. Because when you set your goals high, you got to crawl before you walk. You got to start here, here, and on up. So we want to thank you, and I wanted Darryl and all this body here tonight to come back and help the school system. They're growing. The football team is coming back. The basketball team coming back. We need your knowledge. We need your experience. Feed off and help us. We want to thank you.
First two teams to be inducted.
She thinks she held me back. She's never once held me back. She showed me the true reason and how to persevere through anything, any obstacle that was. Those of you who know me, I say this all the time. Next, I'd like to just thank my baby girl, who's my whole wide world. She puts up with Daddy and his stories. And now you're going to have to put up with a second Hall of Fame speech. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Marcia. Taylor is my whole wide world, but my wife, Marcia, is my universe that holds my world together. I thank you, I love you, and thank everybody.
Remus, can I use that line as far as the universe? I need to get that from you afterwards. Is that okay? Our next inductee was a two-sport star that was nicknamed for his resemblance of a former Laker great, Kevin Jefferson. Jefferson graduated in 1986, was a basketball and baseball standout. You may have heard somebody say Coop. That was his nickname in school because he looked like former NBA champion Michael Cooper. Do you see a little resemblance in Cooper? Did you wear the thick wristbands and the toss? Didn't wear those? Okay. During his time on the hardwood, Jefferson was a first-team All-State selection, All-Region, and All-District, along with receiving a nomination to the McDonald's All-American team. He received a full scholarship to Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia, was a four-year standout there. He scored 1,806 points, which is a school record. He held that record for 22 years and still holds several school records, such as single-season scoring average at 25.6 a game. Career field goals was 746. Single-season field goals made with 285. Career field goal attempts, single-season field goal attempts, career and single-season dunks, dunks in a single game, and the single-game field goal made record with 15. You was a baller at Longwood. Jefferson led the Lancers to a share of the 1988 Mason-Dixon Conference Championship and was named Longwood Male Athlete of the Year in 1990 and was named Team MVP on 2 different occasions. He earned all South Atlantic District honors in 1990, was a 2-time Virginia Sports Information Directors College All-State selection, and was inducted into Longwood's Athletic Hall of Fame in 2007. Currently, Jefferson owns a fitness company called Fit Coop 33, still active in the Petersburg community, often volunteering his time in Mount Olivet Baptist Church. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member to the Petersburg High Athletic Hall of Fame, Mr. Kevin Jefferson.